Hello, welcome to yet another session of Matthew Arnold. Now, as I referred in the previous class, we have certain significant areas of Arnold's poetic criticism, and that is related to certain steps he put forward to make you understand how a man's life could be enjoyable. The first method he brings out, whatever writing in the literature is to be estimated by a method what is called the touchstone method. Touchstone method, that you keep in mind. There is a chance you will get a paragraph question on this or short answer questions on this. What is this? What does this mean? What we call in Malayalam Urakal Prasthanam, Urakal, to compare, to make more polish and polish. What is called touchstone method? So Arnold advocates there should be a touchstone method to be implied in the way of literature, in the way of poetry, how to make it more and more dynamic. That method is based on touchstone method. It is one of the first matter. What is this? This is a judgment. All right, judgment on poetry. First point that you keep in mind is that it is one of the methods of judgment. What does it mean, judgment? Judgment means how to estimate the good one or bad one. So how to make a judgment on poetry. That method, this method, suppose you depend, it will be more accurate than the ordinary sense that we do to estimate poetry. Question of judgment of literature. It is a poetic device. He says it is a device. It is a method. It is a device used for estimating or polishing, making the poem or poetry more an attractive way. The Longinus and Addison had remarked this opinion. Earlier, some poets like Addison and Longinus had the same opinion. They also advocate the writer's writing antiquity are to be referred. We should compare our work with former epic patterns. So this touchstone method refer to epics. Means what? Epics means what? Bigger, very eminent writers' writings or poetry should be referred. Need not, a simple man need not always becoming a poet simply by his own way. Arnold says you should compare your wavelength of your intellectual activity or what you call emotion activity. That should be compared to the epics or the great grand writers. Means what? What do you mean you are a Shakespeare or what is called Aristotle or Plato or what you call your so many writers like Eliot. All these epic writers had produced a very big style of writing that should be compared and that should be estimated. Then you produce good poetry. Then your poetry will be polished. Your poetry will be more attractive so that there is no meaning in rejection by others. So we should compare. So a touchstone method may be adopted to judge the high quality of the poetry. After these references, you will get a high quality of poem. All right, high quality. That is what always we wanted. We should get a high quality. When we get a high quality, all right, then how to judge this high quality? Only by referring to the epics and great writers like John Milton, or what you call Shakespeare, or Aeneida. A lot of writers with Homer, Dante, Shakespeare, Milton. All these great writers of the previous time, of the past, should be referred, should be compared. By this method, your writing will be more, more and more dynamic. So this is the one of the tools, one of the methods by which you can compare. You then polishing, your writing will be very great. Understand how they impressed over the other quality. Substance and style are to be experimented. Then all the classics are to be referred. So many classic writings were there. That to be compared. Classic writings. Even though he had no very high opinion of John Milton, his Paradise Lost, it is based on a story or Holy Bible. All right, he understands, he followed a style, what is called the following method, what is called grand style. So at least you understand what is touchstone method. Touchstone method is a method by which you compare your poem or with the epic writer's poem, then make what all the qualities that you lost once you compare to the epic writers. So Arnold emphasizes that you always should possess a method. What method? Touchstone method, to compare whatever had been written earlier by the great writers, then understand their poems first, and understand their method of communication, and understand their method of, traveling, the style of writing. This style of writing, at least you have to imitate. Then your method will be polished, and no more people will be criticizing you that consider or estimate your poem is very bad or underestimated. So ancient writers are very good models. Arnold says, whenever you compare to the old writers, or what you call ancient writers, example, Milton is better than Shakespeare, he says. In study of poetry, he says, Milton is greater than Shakespeare. Means what? Shakespeare could have referred Milton. In the way that the modern writers in the generation should have an idea about the ancient writers right from the beginning. Aristotle, Plato, Horace, what you called all other writers, Dante, then Homer, then coming to the modern world, what you call John Milton, Shakespeare, then even all the epic writers and grand style writers should be referred once you try to write the poem. So Arnold introduced this novel practical device to detect the order of excellence. They want the order of excellence. That is another point. Order of excellence. Your poem, how will you be in a position to judge whether it is excellent, whether it is bad? If it is to be excellent, touchstone method to be included. So it is the characters of high quality of poetry are what is expressed there. Even once you refer to Shakespeare, once you refer to Milton, once you refer to Horace or Dante, all those writers referred characters of high quality. All right, these high quality characters to be referred to your characters in modern time, then your characters will be more and more and more and more qualified. That is what is his idea. So Longinus says there are passages in which we may recognize beauty and truth sublime because they always please all the audience. So beauty and truth, beauty and truth, all these to be considered. Beauty and truth always to be considered in the poetry. Why? Longinus says it would attract and it would please all the readers. Means what? If the piece of writing is based on truth, if the piece of the writing is based on the beauty, it would always please the people. Then people will tell, oh, this is a great writing, like that. So this touchstone method is to be considered once in your writing. Then your writing will be more and more and dynamic. Place a given passage or poem beside them, by comparison feel what the degree of excellence has been accomplished. So by this method, Arnold says that you can yourself make an estimate on your writing, how far your writing is excellent. So touchstone method is one of the methods that Arnold advocates to make your writing more possible. Then next one, he goes to the other item of instrument, what is called grand style. What is meant by grand style? Now he says grand style to be included. What does it mean, grand style? Probably you will get a paragraph question. Probably you will get a short answer question. What does grand style means? What according to Arnold says, what is the meaning of grand style according to Arnold? Then you keep in mind, grand style is nothing. Grand style means your piece of writing should have a quality of ancient grand epic writers' style. All right. So this is one of the dynamic qualities of piece of writing. It is indispensable for the poetry. Grand style is not at all avoidable. If the grand style is not included in the poetry, your poetry will be kept unnoticed. If people want to read, if people want to enjoy, if people want to please themselves by reading your poem, no other way but to use grand style. And what grand style? The style which old ancient epic writers used in their method of writing, like Paradise Lost, like Homeric Iliad, also many Shakespearean writings, in the way that grand style. So first point, Arnold says, it is an indispensable part. Grand style is an indispensable part. Indispensable means unavoidable. Unavoidable means it is very, very mandatory. It is mandatory means what? You cannot keep away. You cannot keep away means what? It is very must in the piece of writing. The character should have a noble future. All right. So indispensable. All right, quality, unavoidable, grand style, high quality writers, noble nature. Your characters should have a noble nature. Once you examine all the writers, they wrote related to kings and queens because of they have taken noble birth. So your characters should be based on noble nature, poetically gifted, a serious subject. Your subject of the poem should be very serious. Your subject matter or the central theme of the poetry should have a seriousness. Means what? Wordsworth, though has written a lot of serious poems, he has written very silly poems. But these silly poems means what? Wordsworth did not put forward grand style in his Solitary Reaper. He did not put grand style in Daffodils. He did not put any grand style in Rainbow, but might have been philosophical. But Arnold says, if your poetry want to be read by others, grand style to be implemented. If grand style means characters should be of noble seriousness, noble nature. Milton only maintained a grand style. Once you refer to John Milton, all the poems he has written maintained a grand style, and this grand style would have been the main target by all the people were attracted to him. Only Keats and Thomas Gray maintained among some modern poets. According to Arnold, this grand style is maintained only by John Keats and our Thomas Gray. Thomas Gray was a great, splendid poet, according to Arnold. His elegy, written in a country churchyard, was highly estimated by Arnold because he liked it very much. The same way where everybody, the chill penury leads to life means what? We are leading our life to our grave. Unknowingly or knowingly, every moment, every day, every week, every month, we are marching and reaching our graveyard. That is the central theme of he utters in the poem that once he shepherd enters to the graveyard, he finds so many cemeteries, cellars kept there for the common people, and the poet himself through shepherd asking, all right, some mute Milton may have rest here. Some mute Milton. These people who are buried in the cellars here might have been great people, but the chance of life did not give them to become great. This man, if was in the noble nature, taken birth, could have been John Milton, could have been Caesar, could have been Alexander, could have been earlier Mussolini, but now chill penury, now coming in the graveyard altogether, now die. Common people are kept in the cemetery, common people are kept in the cellars unnoticed. Nobody, even relatives coming to the grave, look after, or the graves or the cellars kept in the graveyard. So our idea, our motto of life is not to be meant for enjoyment, but everybody has to face their destiny one day or another day. One day, today or tomorrow, we will have to face this death. That is one of the method that he uses. And so Arnold has a very high opinion on Thomas Gray by this poem. John Donne and Dryden, Spencer, Shelley did not mind this grand style. All the romantic poets did not mind grand style. Alright, they have no idea about grand style. What is the meaning? Because Wordsworth says, if it is grand style written, no common people could enjoy. Alright, in lyrical ballads he says, I want to write poems for common people. Because my subject matter is common, my people who read the poem is common, so I must depend on common subjects. But Arnold is of the opinion, Wordsworth is nothing. Alright, what is called your Donne is nothing, Dryden is nothing, because they did not maintain grand style. If grand style is there, if they refer to the characters of noble birth, if they refer to the style of which in the pompous manner, it would have been better. But they are not poets at all. What Arnold says, grand style, a fresh formulation of classical restraint, proportion and form against the romantic fantasy. So Arnold again points out this grand style is an outcome of revolution after the romantic fantasy. This romantic fantasy, the people who are behind what is called behind a romantic fantasy cannot easily understand. It is the poetic compromise between excellence of matter and manner that you keep in mind. Compromise. It is a compromise between excellence and that you write seriousness, compromise. It is a compromise of excellence of matter and excellence of matter and manner of writing. Manner of writing. So it is an compromises between excellence of matter and manner, in which so in the matter related to the characters of more epics, characters of noble seriousness. In the matter of writing, manner of writing, the poem should be grand style. It is a superior character of birth and seriousness, inseparable from their mind. So all the writers would keep in mind what is called character. Grand style stands for, that you may copy down, according to Arnold says, grand style stands for the harmonious blending of matter. The matter and manner. Matter is on the one hand, means what? The matter related to the people or the heroes of high noble virtue. But they are presented in the poem or in the poetry in a what manner? That is a matter of question. It transforms both the subject and the reader. It transforms. Grand style would transforms. It makes a change the subject and the reader. Great words issue only from great minds. According to Arnold says, great words issue only from great minds. Age cannot wither nor custom stale. He says, grand style, if implied in the correct way, it cannot change our will. Grand style is compromise. It is an excellence of manner. The grand style stands for the harmonious blending of matter and manner, giving the powerful total expression. So this grand style, though kept unnoticed by so many writers, even during the time of romantic revival, Matthew Arnold, post in Victorian time, he upholds how this grand style to be implemented. So these are the main significant methods or the tools that he brings forward to keep you vigilant in writing poetry. One method is touchstone method. Second one is grand style method. So definitely you can expect 1 or 2 paragraphs from this area. In detail we will discuss later. Till that moment, goodbye.